Hello and welcome. I really appreciate you being here in this webinar. And I really appreciate that you have decided to drop whatever you were doing and join me to learn something new and productive. Believe me when I say that you are a rare find. Most of the people these days prefer to watch movies or series or just play some games and waste their time. But you have decided to use your time to make your future a better place. With that being said, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mohammed Barghouti from Pro Expertise, and I am a civil engineer holding a bachelor degree in civil engineering and a master degree in environmental science. I am PMP certified, and I'm a graduate member of the Institute of Civil Engineering in the United Kingdom. I've been working as a civil engineer since 2012, and I have been using Excel since 2006. But before we go into details and learn the features of Excel, I would like to inform you that I have a 7 hours course available on Udemy and Skillshare that teaches Excel in more details. So this webinar will go through all the information that you will learn in that course, but briefly. Don't forget to download the material so you can learn and practice while you are watching this webinar. I strongly recommend you to do that because there is no better way of learning than practicing. I also have attached the syllabus for the full course, the 7 hours Excel course, in the same link, so you can download it to get an idea of what I will teach you in the 7 hours course. All right? With that being said, let's dig in. So, first things first, Excel is a smart software. It gives you what you need the way you want in a very smart way. Excel consists of columns and rows and cells. You can think of Excel as a baby born brain. It has a lot of cells, but they are empty. And you fill them the way you see fit. Each cell means nothing unless you identify it with a value. And that value could be a number, a text, or a string, a date, you name it. All right? So I have divided Excel into 5 main categories. Formulas, which are divided into logical formulas, date formulas, text formulas, and pivot tables, and charts. There is something called macros and VBA. That's part of Excel, an important part of Excel, but I don't want to go through that because it is considered as an advanced feature in Excel. It has a lot of programming to do and coding and stuff like that. Let me know if you want me to teach you that. I will be more than happy to do so. So just leave a comment or send me an email or find me on my social media anywhere, and I'll be more than happy to help. All right, so we have 5 sections: logical formulas, text formulas, date formulas, pivot tables and pivot charts, and charts. And all of those features can be found using either shortcuts or you can find them in the ribbon. The ribbon in Excel, like any other Microsoft Office software, has all the features compacted in one place. Let's go through it quickly. So this is the ribbon. It has sections. The first one is file, and here you can save your file, open recent files, save or convert to PDF files, print, export, and all of that. And you can access your options as well. We'll go through that later on. Home button or home section or home tab is where you can change the style of your text, the format. You can merge cells, you can wrap text, and you can access the conditional formatting, and you can change the cell formatting as well, and some other features like sort and filter, delete or insert rows or format rows and columns. All of that can be found in the home button. But again, all of that is also accessible through shortcuts. Insert is where you will insert your charts, spark lines, slicers, and timelines. We will go through all of that later on. I just want you to see where you can find those buttons, right? And of course, the pivot table can be found in the under the Insert tab from your ribbon. Page layout, from what the name says, you can change your orientation of the page, the size of the page. You can select the print area. You can add backgrounds. You can add print titles. Formulas is the tab where you can insert the formulas. However, I strongly recommend you to know the formula and type it down, which I will explain in a minute. Data, the most important button in my opinion here. All of them are important, of course, but the most I would say used button in my opinion is the data validation. I'll explain that later on. Review is where you can add your comments, do your spelling mistakes check. View is where you can change your view of that sheet. Developer is where you can access the VBA and macros. And most likely at the moment, you don't have that tab here. You can add it through File, Options, and then Customize ribbon. And from here, you can find the developer from this side and then click on it and go to Add, right? And then click Save. At the moment, I already have it. It's right here, so I don't have to go through that again. But this is the way you can add it if you don't have it yet. All right. So let's go back to our home button here. All right, and start with the logical formulas. Of course, I will not explain all of them. I will explain few of the most important one of them. Right. Let's start with the function maximum. Maximum is a function in Excel that you can use to let Excel return a maximum value of a certain selected data. Let's try it together. The way you write formulas in Excel is first you start with equal sign, and when you press equal, Excel automatically understands that you are about to write a formula. So equals max, which is the short for maximum, and same as any other formula, once you write your function, you open the brackets, and then Excel will give you hints of what to do next. In this case, Excel is telling us, write the numbers or the set of data you want Excel to select and retrieve the maximum value of that set. In this case, you just use your mouse, click on the first cell, and drag down and then release. So now Excel is highlighting the values in cells B4 to B14, including B4 and B14. And then you close the brackets. Enter. Then Excel will retrieve or return the maximum value within this range. Simple and easy and straightforward. Now, if you want to do the same for all of those columns, you just hover over the cell or the cell that has the formula you want to copy, and then go to the bottom right corner, click and drag. Because Excel is a smart tool, it already changes the range that you're selecting. In this case, if you double click, it will select the range for you. Double click on any formula. In this case, the selected range was B4 to B14. When we drag it to the right, it automatically changed it to select C4 to C14. Similar case here, D, then E, then F, then G. So This is how you do it. This is the maximum function. Let's try the minimum function. It's exactly the same way of writing the maximum function. However, instead of writing max, you should write min, which is short for minimum. Let's try it together. Equals min, minimum, open the brackets, and then select your range. Close the brackets and enter. Then again, drag to the right. Now, these are the minimum values for each column. Now let's try to find the average of the same selected data. It has the same way of writing, of course, like any other formula, equal average. But here I want to show you a trick that will help you be more productive and more efficient and faster in writing your formulas. If you can see, I just wrote AVER. I did not complete my statement or my formula. I didn't say average, I said AVER. Excel automatically suggested few suggestions here, few options. The first one was average. If you see that Excel is highlighting your formula or the formula you desire or you want to type, if it's highlighted in blue, just press Tab. Excel will automatically complete that for you and will open the bracket for you to select the range of data. Let's select the same range, close the brackets and enter. Now let's try to do it for the UK column, the C column. Equals average. Let's see, I wrote AV and Excel already suggested few options here. I don't want the first option, I want the second option. So I can use the arrows in my keyboard, go down and then tab. It will also select or complete that formula for me and open the bracket, and then I can select the data. Right? It doesn't matter if you select it from upwards to downwards, from up to down or down to up, or right, left, left, right, doesn't matter as long as the data is selected. Excel will automatically detect the range you want to select. I want to show you something else here. If I did not close my bracket and pressed enter, it will automatically fill it for me and the formula will function properly, right? And then you can drag to the right. Let's see the total. Let's say I want to have the sum of those values. Formula is easy, equals sum, open the bracket, select the data, enter. That's it, this is your sum. Let's try to do it for the product itself. Let's go for iMac 2020 equals sum, open the bracket, select the data, close, enter. It will give me the sum. Let's try here. But now I want to use a shortcut, which is Alt equal. See, I told you Excel is smart. It already detected the set or the range of data I want to sum. I just pressed Alt. While holding Alt, I pressed equal and then enter. Let's try it again. Alt equal. Enter. Smart, huh? If you have any questions, please let me know. Up to this point, you have learned maximum, minimum, average, and sum. Now, don't worry about the colors here. I'll explain them in a moment. But first, let's see the F function. The F function, some consider it as moderate, but I believe and I think it's simple. You just need to understand how to talk to Excel. You have to understand how to think like Excel in order to understand how to use those complicated, relatively complicated formulas. Let's see what F means. F is a statement or conditional statement, or let's say is a logical formula in Excel, where you can tell Excel, do this if that is true and do that if that is wrong, right? And when I say true or wrong or false, meaning that I already have a condition that if met, this means true, or the condition is true, the condition happened. If it's not met, it means it's false. All right. So I'll be telling Excel, if this is true or if this condition is met, give me that. Otherwise, give me that or this, Okay? You got the point? You understand now the general concept of the if statement? Let's try to talk to Excel in Excel language and do that. Let's say, let's tell Excel, if this value, which is the total value of the whole sales or revenue for those products in this country, if this value is more than or equal 1.4 million, return the word achieved. Otherwise, meaning that if it's less than 1.4 million, return the value or the word failed. Okay? If the total is more than 1.4 million, show me the word achieved. If it's less than 1.4 million, show me the word failed. Okay? Let's try to write it down in Excel language. So we start with equal and then our function, and then we open the brackets, right? We learned that using the previous formulas. Equals. Now Excel is giving us a hint. It says logical test. What is your logic? What's your condition? Our condition is if this value is more than or equal. This is how you write more than or equal. Similarly, if you want to write less than or equal, right? So we have more than or equal 1.4 million, right? So what will happen if this condition is true? Once you finish your condition, you insert a comma. And automatically Excel will jump to the next verse and say value if true. So if this condition is met, what do you want Excel to return? In this case, I want Excel to return the word achieved. And since it's a word, it's not a formula, it's not a number, I have to add it in double quotations. Okay, remember that, this is very important. So what's the value if true? Achieved. Okay, now I've ended this verse, so comma. The value if false is failed. Now I added the condition, I added the return value if the condition is true, and the return value if the condition is false. I completed the statement now, the full statement of if, then I'll close the brackets and press enter. Now I can see that the total here is less than 1.4 million, so it's giving me failed. I'll just select and drag to the right, and I can see that it's writing all the information the way I want, because here it's more than 1.4. Here it's more than 1.4. It's less, less, and less. Okay, so this is how you write the if function. Now let's see and or functions. They are logical formulas as well, but their return values are either false or true. In the case of using and formula, it's basically giving Excel more than one condition, right? Like two conditions or more, and tell Excel if all the conditions are true, give me back the value of true. If one or more of the conditions are false, give me back the value false. On the other hand, the or function is, or. So if one of the functions are true, meaning that if this, sorry, not function, the logical conditions are true, meaning that, let's say you have two conditions, and you can say, if this condition or that condition is true, give me back true. If all of them are false, give me back the value false. Let's try it. I'm saying here, and B4 is more than 140,000, B5 is more than 1.5 million. Let's translate that to our language. If, this is what I'm telling Excel, if the value in B4 is more than 140,000 and the value in cell B5 is more than 1.5 million, return the value true. Otherwise, return the value false. In this case, it's false because the value, let's double click here so we can see the selection. Okay, because it's false because none of these conditions are met. The first condition, which is B4, I'm saying here is more than 140,000. It's not more than 140,000, it's 100,000. And the second value, which is B5, the condition is the value of B5 to be more than 1.5 million. It's not. So it will give me back false. Even if one of those conditions is true, since we're using AND, it will return back the value false. Now, for the OR, it's different. You can see, for example, here, AND is giving me the value of false, OR is giving me the value of true, although I'm selecting the same data, because in this case, one of the conditions is true, which was enough to let Excel return back the value true. All right, you got the point? Now this is AND OR. Usually we don't use them by themselves. We combine them with other formulas such as if formula to come up with formulas like that. All right. Now I'm not going to go through that in this webinar. However, this and much more are available in the course, which I will explain how to purchase the course at the end of this webinar. All right. So let's try and see the conditional formatting. Let's say that you have this table and you want to create a dashboard, right? And you have a target, and your target is 1.4 million for the total products in each country. And you don't want to go through the numbers, you just want to have a look. And from the color coding, let's say, you want to know which country achieved the target and which countries didn't achieve the target. So for that, you can use conditional formatting. Basically, you'll be telling Excel, if this value equals that, change the style or the format of the cell to this. Okay. Let me first delete the ones I already have. So we start from scratch. Okay. So I deleted the rules. Now you select the data, right? In this case, we have this range from B19 to G19, and then you go to conditional formatting and then go to new rule. From here, you go to format only cells that contain, go to equal to, and then start with failed. Meaning that if the word mentioned in any of the selected cells is failed, then you click to format, you click the format button, and then we'll change this to red. Or you say okay, and then click OK. Now all the words that says failed are changed to red. Select the same data again. Go to, let me just copy this to save some time. Select the data again. And by the way, when you copy, click Ctrl+C. When you paste, you click Ctrl+V. Select the data, conditional formatting, new rule. Although we did one rule before, but that rule was for the failed word. Now we want to add another rule for the achieved word. So you go to conditional formatting, format only cells that contain, equal to, and let's just paste this, format, and then let's choose any color, this color. Click OK and OK. So now from the look, only by a glance, just like only it will take a few seconds to know that you have 4 countries have failed to achieve your target, which is 1.4 million, and 2 countries achieved that. Right? This is the whole idea of Excel. It actually summarizes your data and present it in a better way, aesthetically pleasing way, and let's say easy, friendly, user-friendly, presentable, productive, efficient. This is the idea of Excel. This is why we spend much time in Excel at the beginning, to come up with a smart dashboard, I would say, that where you can retrieve your data easily and productively, right? So this is the whole idea. Keep that in mind. And by the way, that the files that I'm working with are available for download. So download them and work with me while I am showing you the functions of Excel. So let's go and see the count function. The count function, well, it counts the cells that has values. Let's try it. Equals count, open the brackets, and let's select those values. Those 5 values. We have 4 values that are filled with numbers, or in this case currencies, which are numbers in the eyes of Excel, and another cell that is filled with text. All right, let's see how count understands that. It's counting 4 because count function only counts cells that contains numbers, right? If you know that your cells may contain texts, you have to use count A, right? Count A. Now this will change to 5. If you have a blank, count A or count will not count for it. You need to use count blank. Okay? If you select this range, it will count only 1 because you have only one cell that is blank. Control Z to undo. Just don't want to delete this. Okay? And there's no need for that. So this is count. Let's see the drop list, which can be found under the data and data validation section in the ribbon. I showed you that at the beginning of this webinar. So if you go to data and data validation, this is where you can add this drop list. Let's try it together. So data validation, and then you can add list. And from here you can either select your list by selecting the range, or you can type it down. Let's say Palestine, comma, to add the second value, Jordan, enter. So we have 2 values here in this drop list, Palestine and Jordan. Click OK. Now you have this button. Whenever you click, you will see Palestine and Jordan. You can either select them or you can type them down. However, if you try to write some words that are not within this list, let's say USA, enter, this pop-up message will come, will tell you that you can't because this is not within the list. This value doesn't match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell. And just click cancel. Basically, the data validation is will allow you or will let you put more restrictions for the values to be inserted in the cells. So as a user, sometimes, so as a worksheet owner, you want the users of that sheet to have limited restrictions or limited values to insert. You don't want them to have infinite ideas to just list within your sheet. You want them to have specific values, such as true or false, for example, or a range of numbers. You have a question and you know that the answer should be between 1 and 5, so you can have that as a restriction, and that can be added using the data validation. All right, so this is the general idea of the data validation, and this is exactly how it's done. And you can also change the pop-up message that will come, so you can give hints to the users to know what kind of values to be filled inside their cell. Okay, so this is the data validation. Here I use the country and product, right? And here I used a function called index combined with another function called match to retrieve the value from this cell by using the drop-down arrows. Right? Let's say that I want the country to be USA, the product to be AirPods 2. Excel will automatically return the revenue from this cell. And this is, again, one of the benefits and advantages of Excel. If you want to impress your boss, or you want to have, a more productive way of retrieving data, this is one of the ways: index and match, right? And that and much more will be explained in the course. I will leave the link at the end of this webinar. So if you're interested, you can just click in the link and purchase the course. Of course, I will have offers, so wait until the end so you can see the offer. For now, just focus on what you are learning, and this is the idea of this webinar. Before we continue, don't forget to check out my Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Subscribe, follow, like, share to learn more about Excel and, other stuff. All right. So let's jump to see the text formulas, which is our second section of this webinar. Text formulas are formulas that are used for texts. Let's see, I have numbers here, like normal numbers, 1 to 12, and I want to convert them to Roman numbers. That's easy. Just use the formula Roman equals Roman, open the bracket, select your reference cell, close the bracket, and enter. Double click to drag down. Before we used to hold and drag, that will work too. If you double click from the same, using the same right bottom corner of the cell, it will drag the formula automatically as well. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I know. It's that efficient in Excel. Excel already know when to stop. However, if doesn't really know when to stop, it just stops when the cell is empty. Think of it as a road, as a roadblock. So if you have data here, let's copy those, add it here. Let's say 13. Delete this. If you have this formula and double click, it will not continue. You have to do it manually. Okay. Anyway, let's go to the uppercase. Do I really need to explain this? Uppercase. You just select type upper equals upper and then put your reference cell. So Excel will take the word and change all characters to uppercase. Lowercase is exactly the same. I will not go through it. It's straightforward. Proper is very important. Proper changes the first character to capital letter and the rest to small letters. This is why it's called proper, because this is the proper way of writing names. Trim is a bit tricky. Usually if you have spaces, unwanted spaces in names, just like that, you cannot see that we have a space, and you have to keep your sheet clean and neat. So you use trim to remove the unwanted spaces in any name. Equals trim, and then you put the reference cell. Now another trick, you don't want, whenever you use a text formula, sometimes you want to keep it without the reference cell. Let's say that I want to delete this column. You will have reference errors here because your reference cell is deleted. Excel cannot see your reference cell anymore. Undo, Control Z to undo. To avoid that, select your data, Control C and then Control V. So we're copying and pasting in the same place. When you paste it, before clicking any other button in your keyboard, you will find this drop menu. Click on it and then paste values. So now these are the correct values, the modified values, right? But they are not referenced to anything. So if you delete this column, this will not change. Okay? Let's see the AND trick. AND trick combines two strings together. If you have first name and last name and you want to create a cell that combine the first name and the last name, you can use AND. There is another formula for that, which is called concatenate. I'll explain it next, but first let's see AND, how you write AND. Just let me insert a column, right click, insert. So it will insert a column. And let's write that formula. Equals the first name and the last name. Enter. It will combine them both together. However, we need a space in between. How to add a space? Open a double quotation, space, and then another double quotation. and then and. So what's happening here? Excel is adding the first name and a space, right? And the last name, enter. So it will add the last name. Now, double click, it will generalize the same formula for all cells. So this is how you can add them together. Concatenate, it's similar to that. You can use any of them, but this will have like a formula shape. I'll use it here as well. So equals concatenate. I'll use the tab shortcut. So text one is this, then comma, I want to add a space, then comma, I want to add the last name. Right? You got it? So this is concatenate. Left, right, mid, they are functions in Excel that retrieves the characters, a number of characters. Let's say the first 3 characters from the left side or the first 3 characters from the right side. Of course, you can define how many numbers you want to Excel to retrieve. And mid is, mid. It retrieves the numbers from the middle. Len retrieves the number of characters available in any string or any text. Okay, so in this case, we have len of this number and it has 12 characters. It looks like a number, but in Excel, this is defined as a character or as a text because we have dashes in between. This is basically the text formula. Those are very important formulas. There are plenty of other formulas where you can use to facilitate and make your dashboard in Excel looks more presentable and more productive and more efficient. But those are one of the most important functions that I use on daily basis, on more or less on daily basis, on any of the sheets that I use during my work or during my studies back in the days, right? You can also do something like this using the developer tab and conditional formatting. You can make it like a checklist that actually is automated, when the checkbox is checked, the task or whatever you want to mention here will be scratched and will be highlighted in gray to mark that it's completed. Okay, this is one of the tricks or features available in Excel that these are not straightforward to be done, but they are not difficult as well. And all of that are taught in the full Excel 7 hours Excel course. Let's go to date formulas. I want to tell you something about dates in Excel. Excel identifies everything as a string or as or text, character, or a number. Dates are numbers in Excel, and I will prove that to you. Now this is a date, right? 17th of January 2022. If you go to home and change that to general, it will give you a number. And this is exactly what Excel is reading. Excel is reading 44,578 and changing the format of it to a date. And that number is not a random number. It means something. And in a moment, you will understand what this number means. First, let me write this random date, right? 1st of January, 1900. Sorry, it's not random. I edited, I'm writing it on purpose. So 1st of January, 1900. Excel will detect that this is a date, and because of the format I wrote it in, and it will convert it to a short date format. And notice the zeros here. This is the year 0. What does that mean? What does year 0 means? This is a trick. In Excel, the year 1900 is the first year, let's say the first Excel calendar year. Before that date, let's say 1st of January 1899, which is exactly 1 year before that. Excel will not change it to short date format because it's not reading it as a date. It's not identified as a date in Excel because there is nothing called the year 1899. The dates in Excel starts in 1900. Now, if I change this date, which is the first day in Excel, you can think of it. Just think of it as the first calendar day in Excel. Change it to general, it will give you a number, the number 1, meaning that this is the first day in Excel. Now, if I add 1 to that, it will give me 2, of course. But if I change that to short date, it will give me 2nd of January in year 1900. Okay? So, that is the number of days elapsed since 1st of January 1900. Okay? And this date, by the way, is today, which is the actual date of today. So this is the day I'm recording this webinar. Let's change it back to short date and continue. So this says equals today, and then open and close the brackets. You don't have to write anything inside the brackets. And this retrieves today's date no matter when you open the sheet. So as I said, this sheet is available for you to work with. So most likely when you open it, you will not see this date in your sheet, because that date in the sheet you have will change automatically according to the current date of the day you're opening that sheet. You got it? Maybe it's a bit confusing, but it will be more clear when you open the sheet. And you will see that the date is the same as today's date. This is why we are using the function today. Okay? So it will always be today's date. It's not fixed. If you want to fix it, Control C, Control V, paste the value. Now this is fixed. Let's Control Z to undo. All right, so this is how you use the function today. If you want to show the time as well, not only the date, you can use the function now. So it will show you the date, right, which is 17th January 2022, and then the time, which is 19 and 57 minutes. Let's say that you want to retrieve the year from this date. You just put equal year, and then between the brackets, you put the date you want Excel to retrieve the year from. Similarly for the month, for the day, for the hour, for the minute, and for the second. But keep in mind that seconds, minute, and hours cannot be retrieved from today's date. It has to have time included. So if you want to use hours, minutes, or seconds, you have to reference, you tell me, now formula. Exactly. Yes, you got it right. Or I'm just assuming that you got it right. I'm not even sure that you are you with me? I know it's a boring subject. I know that. I mean Excel is boring to learn, but it's fun to practice. So just complete this hour and then practice. Once you understand it, once you start doing it without thinking, you will like the software. Now it might be a bit difficult to understand or to grasp, or maybe you are bored, or you feel that you don't want to continue even this webinar. I urge you to continue, because once you do and you understand Excel, you will see the fun part. It's always hard at the beginning. And if you feel that it's difficult, remember this. Everything is difficult until you learn it. Just learn it. It will help you. I'm sure it will help you. Few minutes left to complete this webinar. So stay with me. Try to learn something. We have already completed almost 3 sections. We only have 2 sections left, and I promise you they will not take longer time for me to explain. All right? And they are more fun than the previous sections. I promise you that. Just hold on and stay with me, and let's learn together. Stay productive, huh? All right. Other date functions that you can learn is the end of the month, which will give you the end of the month of any month you want. And you can add the end of this month, or the next month, the previous month, or the month after 3 months from now, and all of that. And from this, you can get more creative and think out of the box and come up with formulas to retrieve the end of the year, or first of the year, or last day of the next year, or the last year, just you can play around with it. Other functions that are very important, especially if you are a planner, is the working days, or the network days, or work days. These are functions used to retrieve dates or duration of projects considering holidays and weekends, because sometimes you'll face projects that have a start date and working number of working days. The duration will be in working days. So if you want to know the completion date of that project, you need to know the working days and the holidays and the weekends during that span of time. To do that, Excel can help you and can really help you in building your program as well and your Gantt chart. If you're not a planner, you don't have to worry about that. But if you are, there is a simple way and easy way to do it in Excel, which is work days and network days. If you are a manager as well, this will help you because, let's face it, we don't want to go through, as managers, we don't want to go through details using specialized programs such as Primavera or even Microsoft projects. We want something simple, light and fast and easy to read. Excel will help you with that. You can use a combination of formulas and use the network days and work days to come up with project durations, the end dates, completion dates, start dates, and come up with the whole program just using Excel. And it will be light and easy and simple and presentable and efficient and productive. All right. So these are the date and the date formulas. Let's go to understand the pivot table concept. This is a list of movies with the rating, year of production, revenue, black and white, the language, the genre, all of that. All right. It has maybe 3,000 or more even rows. Right. If you have this table and I ask you what was the total gross revenue of the movies released in USA in the 2001 year, how can you do that? You can do, click here, go to home, and then insert a filter. And then from the filter, you can go to the countries, and then you can go here. You can click, type USA, you can search for it, and then click OK. And then you can go to the year, release year, unselect all, and then you can go to 2000, let's say. And then you can go to the revenue, Control Shift, bottom arrow. It will select the whole list, and you can see those values here. You can see that this is the sum, all right? This is a way of doing it. But if I keep on adding more layers of filters and asking more questions, and if I ask you, retrieve me this report that shows only this data, it will be a hectic job, especially that we don't function, or human beings, we don't like to see a lot of data compacted together like that. We like to see it in a more neat and clear way. Let's first clear all the filters. Do we have any more filters? I think yes, we have this one. Let's clear it. All right. So to do that, let me introduce you with the pivot table. The pivot table is a simple way of organizing a huge amount of data, or any kind of data, but it's more useful if you have long list of data. Let me show you how to insert it first. Click anywhere inside your table, then go to Insert, Pivot Table. And from here, this window will pop up. Excel will select the range for you because we already selected the cell. The cell that we selected was already inside the table. And then you can go to the second section of this window. Here it says, choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. New worksheet or existing worksheet. Let's use a new worksheet and click OK. So Excel will create a new sheet and add the pivot table here. At the moment, the pivot table is empty. It's waiting for you to fill it with the data you want. Now, everything that was listed inside that table is compacted here, and it works by dragging and dropping. So we have filters, columns, rows, and values. Let's see what rows means. Let's go to genres, hold it and drag it release inside the rows window. Now you have the genres here: action, adventure, animation, biography, blah, blah, blah. Let's go to titles and add the titles under the genre and see what happens here. It's adding all the titles according to their genres inside this neat table. And if you click anywhere here, go to Analyze, Collapse Field, it will collapse the fields according to their genre. So now imagine that each category here is like a storage, right? So you have a storage here, that says action. Inside that storage, inside that box, let's say, if you open it, you will see all the action movies. You can collapse and expand by using the button right here, plus and minus sign. Let's add the gross revenue in the values. So you have now the gross revenue for all action movies. If you click the plus sign, you will see all the revenues for each title, and at the top you will see the gross revenue for the movies, for this movie, for the action movies, for this genre, specifically this genre. Let's add budget as well in the values. So you have the gross revenue and we have the budget. Let's go to filter, right? Let's add the language in the filter and the release date, the color in the filter as well. So now let's say that I want the language to be Arabic. Now this filter has only the Arabic language movies: animation, comedy, and documentary. Okay? And if you want to add the color as well, you can select here and go to black and white. Let's see if we may not have any black and white movies. Yeah, we don't have any black and white movies listed in the Arabic. Anyway, you got the idea. Now let's remove this filter and let me show you quickly the slicers. Let's go here in the genre, right click and go to add as a slicer. This will be added. So this is a slicer. This is called a slicer. So if you click on any button here, it will change in your table. Okay, so it's more like a filter that is added in a separate list. And you can also, if you click here, you can select, you can have multi-selections. So I don't want the Arabic, I don't want adventure, sorry, I don't want action, I don't want adventure, I don't want family, and I don't want musical. It will automatically remove it from your table. All right, you got the idea? So this is basically the pivot tables. You can also go to Analyze. While you are inside your table, you can go to Analyze and add pivot chart. And from pivot chart, you can add, let's say, column charts and see what happens. It will add a column chart that is linked to your table. So if you click action in your slicer, the table will change and the chart will change as well. See, the action movies is removed from here. Okay, so this is basically the pivot table. So now let's go to the last section of this webinar and let me show you the charts. You have a lot of chart types in Excel, but the interesting ones are not added as standard or templates. Let me show you quickly what I mean by that. This is a normal line chart, but when you have this dynamic circle circling the maximum and minimum values with different colors and they move when the value changes, let's change it to 900 for example, that is not a standard typical chart in Excel. Similar to that, you have the column chart that has maximum and minimum values colored with different colors identifying the maximum and minimum values, and they change if the data is changed. Here you have this kind of donut chart that loads according to your revenue or your values, let's say. Or in this case, we have revenue and cost and target. So if the target is completed, this will be moved until the end and the percentage will be 100%. Let's see. Let's try it together. So this is the revenue. Let's assume that the revenue is 90,000 and our target is 100,000. Click enter. It loads to the end. That is not a straightforward chart in Excel. Let's go to this curved column is not a standard in Excel. This one, for example. See, if you have a target to be filled, the like button will be filled if you achieve the target. Okay, you have infographs that moves as well. Let's change this to 60. See how it changes with the symbol moving as well. Male and female symbol is moving, and the amount is moving as well. You know, those kind of charts requires you to think like Excel and try to think out of the box. Other charts, they are straightforward charts, and I'll show you how to insert a couple of them. Let's see, for example, here we have a column chart. Let me zoom in. If you press Control and use your scroll, right, you can zoom in and zoom out, just like that. Okay, so we have this example. We have movies divided by months and genres, and we have their revenue. Okay, so this is the total revenue per month. This is the total revenue per genre. Let's select the months and the comedy genre. Okay, let's select them from here. Go to insert and then choose any chart you want. Let's choose the column chart. There you go. This is your chart. Click anywhere, right click, and then format data series. You know, a pop-up window will come here, and from here you can change the color, the series overlap, the gap width, you know, and many other options, of course. I don't want to go through them because it will take much longer. And if you really want to learn that, you can jump and check out my 7 hours course of Excel that is available in Skillshare and Udemy. All right, so this is the idea. This is how you add charts in Excel. You select the data and then you go to insert and then you choose the type of chart you want. Let's say that I added this column chart and I want to change it to a bar chart. You can click on the chart, then go to design, then change chart type and then choose bar chart. Click OK. It will convert to a bar chart using the same data. Okay, so you have bar charts, you have column charts, we have line charts. Of course, in the line chart, you can add a trend line and then you can forecast, you can predict the future. Literally, you can do that here. You have the pie charts and donut charts. We have the tree map and sunburst charts. We have the world map. Imagine if your boss comes to you and tell you that I need a chart that shows me the total profit during the last year for all of our branches in the world. Normal people will go and provide a pie chart or maybe a line chart or donut chart, stuff like that. All right. But my advice, give him that. I'm sure, 100% sure that they will love it. But most importantly is that, that you like it. Personally, I like that chart more than the pie charts and everything else because it gives you a clear idea of, how to compare your profits in each country. You got the point. Let's see what other charts we have in Excel. You have the combo chart where you can add more than one type of chart in one. In this case, we have the line chart and we have the column chart. You have the heat map. This is not a chart, actually. This is a conditional formatting kind of chart. It's like a temperature distribution. And you can see that it's getting hot in the middle of the day and cooler in the end of the day and beginning of the day. Anyway, you have the spark line as well, which is basically a column chart or a line chart or a win-loss chart added in one cell. with no legit nothing, only just like an indication of what's happening in the inside the data you have. And then you have those charts that are out of the box charts. You have scatter chart, we have bubble charts, and many other charts. All of those are explained in details in the Excel course. This is the end of our webinar. Thank you very much for watching, and I really appreciate that you have stayed with me until the end. And for that, I'm going to give you an offer to enroll in the full Excel course. So you have two options. The same course, the exact same course, is added on Udemy and added on Skillshare. And if you don't know those platforms, those are educational platforms that has a huge, vast amount of courses taught online, and you can learn them whenever you want, right? In Udemy, it will provide you with a certificate, so you can add it in your CV and your LinkedIn profile as well. Commonly, worldwide, it's more commonly used as a platform. Udemy is most commonly used as a platform for online courses. However, personally, I like Skillshare more because it has different business model. Skillshare model is a monthly subscription model. So you pay around $10 per month, and then you will have access to all the courses available in that platform, and they have a lot. Udemy, on the other hand, will not provide you that. Udemy's business model is you buy the course and you have access for that for lifetime, right? It's useful, but in my opinion, that you'll complete the course in less than 1 month. So why would I buy it? What's the idea? However, to cover that, Udemy has 30 days money back guaranteed. So you can buy the course. If you don't like it, if you completed it early, you can return it if you want, and they will give you back the amount of money. With that being said, I have the same exact course in both platforms, Udemy and Skillshare. On Udemy, if you use the link in this webinar, you will have the course with $12.99 US. And the course is 7 hours course. So you can complete it in a week, and you can get your certificate, and then you can return your money back according to Udemy policy, which is the 30 days money back guaranteed. On the other hand, you can use the other link for Skillshare course, which is the exact same course available on Skillshare, and you can access the platform for 1 month totally for free. You will pay nothing, and you will have access to all other classes in that platform, whether it's on Excel or in drawing or in illustration or any other topic you like. So you have nothing to lose. You can either buy the course on Udemy, and if you don't like the course for any reason, you can return your money back, or you can sign up using this link for using Skillshare platform, access to a vast amount of classes, including my class, of course, for free. However, you will be asked to add your billing payment information. So you will have to add your credit card details, for example. However, that will not be used, and you can cancel it anytime. After the first month, you will be charged automatically. And I'll give you a quick hint. If you enroll in Skillshare, right, and get access to that 1 month, just before completing that month, just cancel it. They will give you another month for free. They don't always do that, but it did happen many times with me, so I'm guessing it will happen to you. So technically, you'll be getting 2 months for free, accessing all the classes available on Skillshare. And you have nothing to lose if you use Skillshare or Udemy. With that being said, we have reached the end of this webinar. Really appreciate you being here, and I can't wait to see you in one of my courses on Udemy or Skillshare. So stay productive and happy learning.